Do y'all remember when it used to be said that a woman had daddy issues? I remember hearing this probably like when I was a teenager, but since that time, I haven't really heard it said like that. But it seemed like people used to say, well, she got daddy issues. But it seems like now it's not really said that much because I think that it has left us women, that is, in such a state of vulnerability that people who intend to manipulate, abuse, control just see that now as a bonus, like something that they look for, right? Like, does she have daddy issues? Because that has left so many of us in a weakened state that other people have taken advantage of. So, in essence, we were weakened. Almost like we have like the scarlet letter, right? Written across our foreheads. And we become a target for manipulators, for abusers, exploiters, exploitator. How do you say that word? Lord. But you know what? I'm beginning to think that we need to own it. I mean, because really we stopped even saying it about ourselves. Like, I mean, I don't even remember any woman ever saying that about herself. I just remember it being something that was said about women. But I think it's high time that we own it because what we know from the past, right, of healing and going through the process of getting over something is that you have to admit that that's a problem. You have to admit that there's an issue there. And this is not necessarily like we need to talk about all the negative things that have transpired in our relationships with our fathers. And and you know what? I even think that we need to open this up and really it be parent issues. Because how many of us have these same types of issues in our relationships with our mothers? And it's shaped us to the point or even weakened us to a point that other relationships suffer. Other aspects of your life suffer. I don't know. See, here's what I'm thinking, right? I'm thinking that if we truly open up about our experiences, like truly, like open up about our hurt, then there are some who will hear it and be confirmed that they are going in the right direction, that they're doing the right thing. There'll be some that will hear it and say, you know what? Yeah, I want to change course a little bit. I didn't realize that what I was doing here was damaging my child. Some will be convicted by it. And then some won't change at all. But whatever the case may be, we need to know what we're dealing with here. We need to be open and honest about what is happening. See, what I've noticed, right, is that nobody's perfect. right? Like, isn't that what we always say? Now, of course, there's going to be the, average abuser that says, well, nobody's perfect, as their get out of jail free card. But we're not talking about them. We're talking about the average person that maybe just didn't even have the blueprint, didn't have the experience. But they don't mean no harm. They just don't know better. Isn't that right there just enough, to say we need to have these discussions and we need to be open and honest about what is happening in our experiences with our fathers, with our mothers? Isn't that enough of a benefit to be open and be vulnerable? It is in my mind. And so that's why I do it. I wrote a book, and in about less than 30 minutes, it'll be the 2-year anniversary of my memoir, volume 1 of my memoir series. And the first volume is called Provoked. It's The Pastor's Daughter Provoked. And in it, I talk about the dynamics that I have with my father and our father-daughter relationship, as well as he being my spiritual father, meaning that he was my pastor as well. Ever since, my earliest memories, my father was in ministry. And so I viewed him as my spiritual father as well as my natural father. And so I have these dynamics that have truly shaped me, right? But they also give me an insight into the different dynamics that we all have with the men in our lives. There was a lady that fell victim to my father's ways. And I spoke about her recently. And it was so funny because she ended up calling me to get my advice and my guidance about what she should do in the situation with my father. So when she called, I told her, I was like, I wrote about this stuff in my book. And she said, I know, I read your book. And so I was like, wait, hold on, wait, what? Hold on. What do you mean? What do you mean you read my book and you still proceeded to deal with my father? That's where I was puzzled. And she said that she looked at him as a father figure. I just was taken aback. A father figure? Like, what do you mean? How are you looking at him as a father figure, and he's my actual father? And I put out a whole book indicating how dysfunctional and perverse and wrong and abusive our relationship was, as well as how he abused others who look to him as a father figure. How could you still fall victim? How could you still choose to proceed? And I think that there are deep-seated issues in the relationships, in our foundational relationships, meaning those relationships with our parents or the lack thereof, that has left us so susceptible and so weakened to the point where even at our big ages, right, we will still fall victim to an abuser, a manipulator, a narcissist. And see, there's different there are different there are different faces, right? Different archetypes, right, of daughters. And I've just realized this, and began to study this over the last year or two. Yeah, let's say the last year and a half. When I had an encounter with my cousins on my father's side, who were female cousins who were upset with me for speaking out about their father and how he enabled and did not do any type of disciplinary action or anything in the situation dealing with my father, because he is my father's bishop and also his older brother. So my female cousins were upset with me, and they began to throw out some threats on Facebook and, kind of get a little harassing and stuff like that. So I thought it was so weird, because in my mind I said, well, I'm out here and I'm speaking out about my father and his wrongdoing. Why can't you take a page from my book, literally, right? And check your father, the bishop, who is really supposed to do something in this situation? Why can't you go to your father? You're a daughter, right? I'm a daughter. I'm out here talking about my father and putting it out there. Healing and helping others to heal. So why can't you go to your father and say, hey, Dad, what's going on with Uncle down there who's abusing his family and his church? What's going on? What's up? What are you doing about this? That's an archetype of a daughter, right? One who pedestalizes her father and will, fight another woman who dares to speak out about the wrongdoing her father's doing. You have daughters who will speak out and say, hey, I love you, but no. You got some who just straight hate. But you know what is so funny about the whole thing, y'all? Is that we've become so dehumanized as women, and even to the point where we have put our own needs and our own issues to the back burner, that we've become identified by our traumas. We become identified by our issues, by our dysfunctional relationships. And I just believe that there is so much more to us. But how do we even begin to discover who we are as daughters, as women, as divine daughters, if we are not having candid discussions and really peeling back the layers of our issues, of our daddy issues, of our parental issues, of those foundational relationships that shaped our very spirits, y'all? Like, they shaped our spirit beings. And I just don't want to continue down this path of never having the discussion, never just saying it. Because even those who are just listening in will be impacted by it. And I may never truly know, right? And you may never truly know if you share your story. You may never truly know the impact you have had ever. But the impact is generational. Like, it has a generational impact. Just sharing your story, just having the discussion. Because there will be a future father that hears this, and they'll choose something different. There will be a future mother who hears this and makes a better decision about the father she chooses to father her children, about the man she chooses to father her children. So the point of this series is to dig into those characteristics that we have become identified by, right? Those characteristics of these signs, right? These signs that you have daddy issues, you lack trust. You're with dysfunctional men who are probably too old for you, or too young for you, too immature for you, too something. Like, just it's always something. Some of us turn to promiscuity, y'all. Like, just having all kinds of, you know, sex with people. And we have become so identified by our traumas, by our daddy issues, that we don't even truly know who we are as daughters. And so as we dig into this series, we're going to go over those 7 signs that we've become identified by. But then we're going to dig deep into who we truly are as daughters. And a kind of a, not necessarily our target, but a hopeful outcome of this is that other people will hear it. Future fathers will hear it. Current fathers will hear it. And they'll get right with their children. They'll do something different. They'll move differently. They'll choose not to have children, if that's what needs to happen. That's not our initial target, right? Our initial target is to have these discussions so that we begin to really uncover who we truly are as daughters, so that we reclaim our identity. Even I took on this identity of the pastor's daughter. It was an identity that was given to me. But who am I really? Who are you really? Who are you aside from your daddy issues? And if we can dig deep into that, uncover that, let's talk about that, then I'm telling you, your purpose becomes clear. Your calling becomes clear. Who you are, what you desire, what you will and won't accept, the decisions you make, the way you move. It then becomes what you want for you. You become the daughter you want to be. So I hope this makes sense. One thing about me is that I I don't know, like, you guys, like, I think I speak like really clear about like just straightforward things, but there is also kind of like kind of like the metaphysical aspect of things, the spiritual aspect of things, right? So I speak to that too, because I feel like what's really been missing a lot in the area of healing is holistic, a holistic way of looking at the being, the person, growing up in my father's church and all of that stuff, we tended to look at things, or that was what was taught, right? To look at things like the spiritual side of things, right? Like it was like the spiritual was so pushed that it was almost like it made people a bit delusional, a little disconnected with reality. Um, but then when you go into the world, that's what's pushed more than anything, is like not really looking at things in the spiritual sense, but looking at them more natural. And I think that because we are spirit beings living a human experience, and we have to look at things in a holistic way. So I speak like that, right? So I'm going to talk about your physical being, right, as well as your spiritual being, because I think that when one is sick, the other is sick, and that it's all part of who you are. It's all you. So I hope that makes sense. If this does, and this type of content resonates with you, then please like, share, and subscribe. I am on Facebook and YouTube mostly, but you can also find me, cutting up a little bit on TikTok, and that's pretty much it, y'all. I don't be on Instagram like that. I don't be on Twitter like that. In fact, I'm about to delete my Twitter account because y'all, Twitter is weird. But anyway, so but follow me on all the things, okay? And get in my inbox, make sure I have your contact information, connect with me. Shoot me an email at Delores at thekingdomcodeacademy.com. Ciao. I'll make sure y'all have all my information, all that stuff. Okay, child. Let me go. I will talk to y'all later. Oh, I do want to tell y'all, child, I almost didn't even come live today, y'all, because this weather is triggering my fibromyalgia, and I'm not feeling all that great. My body is aching everywhere, child. And yeah, I just don't feel all that great. But by the grace of God, I got this live done today. And I'm just really feeling accomplished, okay, child, because the way my fibromyalgia be set up, y'all, I just don't even be feeling like doing anything. But, I thank God for having these platforms where I can come and talk to y'all. I don't have to be on camera. Y'all don't have to see me looking a mess, okay? You just hear me looking a mess. Okay. But I love you guys, and I appreciate your time. I appreciate you listening, and I will see y'all next time. And remember, you are important to me. I need you to survive. I love y'all. Bye-bye for now.